Good afternoon, everyone. Merch Hunter Ricky back, and today I'm here with a special video presentation brought to you by one of my viewers, Seafreak. They have decided to go ahead and support my Ko-Fi and buy one of my video time slots. This is for the artificial Logia Aerogel. Now, this is a two-part idea in my opinion, and it's fantastic. See, he came up with the idea for the artificial style of a Logia, and that's something that we have not seen in One Piece, but we have seen artificial paramecia and artificial zoan. So the way that I think this would work, he also brought up, Dr. Vegapunk's involvement, obviously. Now, the way I think this might have happened was being able to extract the lineage factor of a type of Logia, just like the part of them that makes it so that they can be the Logia. Maybe what he can't, extract is the elemental part of the Logia, but he might be able to extract the amorphous body, right? Then with the process of making aerogel, which is removing the liquid out of a jelly-like substance. And I did a good chunk of research on this fruit and, on aerogel in general. And it's not something you can just bust out knowledge of. You have to do a lot of research to kind of understand the way this very complex yet lightweight substance works. See, aerogel is a really good insulator, and it has properties such as being fireproof and waterproof, the ability to do things like catch cosmic dust particles in space. And the reason why that is because the molecular structure of aerogel is in such a way that when you remove all the liquid from a jelly, what's left is this complex framework almost, of a cube with a bunch of spongy looking holes in it. And what that does is how it makes it fireproof. It basically gives it a property of when you put the heat on the aerogel, it disperses throughout the molecular structure of said aerogel, making it so that the heat kind of breaks apart instantaneously. This is why in certain videos you will see on NileRed and Veratasium's channels, which I have the videos that I use for the research linked down directly below, they will take a silica aerogel compound and put it on their hand, whether it be a pasty aerogel or just a straight up sheet of aerogel, and they will literally blast their own hand with a torch and nothing will happen to their hand. Also in a Veratasium video, he takes literal particles of aerogel and makes himself waterproof. So to turn this into a One Piece devil fruit, right, there has to be a couple things happening here. One is the way it is administered, because we've seen Dr. Vegapunk and the Mads crew holding a devil fruit before. Now, we don't know if that is them having the devil fruit made or if they found said devil fruit and gave it to one of their creations. We know who that creation is, and I don't really need to bring them up for the video. Now, the other way that this can be administered is via a smile fruit or the green blood, right? With the smile fruit option, it 50% chance of failure, and maybe you won't be laughing forever, but you might have something worse happen, you might just be a goop person afterwards, or green blood administration, meaning you have to have a cup of green blood directly integrated into your body and circulating through your bloodstream at all times. So regardless of the way it is administered, you will become an aerogel human. Now, I think this is something Vegapunk is completely capable of. So let's go ahead and break down some applications of this fruit. As an artificial Logia, you might not behave the same way as other Logias, meaning that you might not be able to do all three Logia properties at the same time as we've kind of seen them do, or you might have a bit of an affinity for one type of application and expression of the Logia versus the others. Now, what makes a Logia for those who are a little bit unacquainted with what they exactly do, they are a force of nature or an element or a group of elements mixed together. We can see this with the gas fruit and its inferior fruit, the smoke fruit, wielded by Smoker. And some other ones like the magma, the inferior of the fire fruit. But what makes aerogel special is that it would be its very own class of Logia. We have not seen an air devil fruit unless you count the non-canon one. So this will be the first of its type introduced into the series, right? Unless we get that revelation soon that someone we've already known has had an air devil fruit the whole time, this is legitimately the only one. Now, this is not necessarily an air devil fruit. It is aerogel. It is a substance with all the water removed to make it as light as possible, and the makeup of this is something around like 99.98% air, which is what makes it the aerogel. Now, other than the two main applications I brought up already, right? Oh wow, I just realized that I was talking about the Logia property and I kind of went on a tangent. But basically, a Logia can turn itself into the element. It can create the element and it can manipulate said element, right? So as aerogel, you can turn yourself into aerogel. You can create aerogel and you can manipulate aerogel around you. Now, one thing that makes aerogel really broken in the One Piece world is application number 1, waterproofing yourself. Now, as an aerogel human, you can just turn yourself into the entire particle of aerogel that makes you waterproof, and you effectively will ignore the stamina debuff that happens when a devil fruit user makes contact with water. We've seen this in other ways with people like Buffalo, who is just literally flying over the ocean, Doflamingo, who is like Spider-Maning across clouds, and of course Aokiji riding his bike across the water. What you would be able to do is literally just swim. Or you can make an aerogel platform, but for the most part you could just be in the water. Now, this might take stamina on you to maintain the form, which I like because, you know, it's a caveat that doesn't make you necessarily overpowered to an extent that, you know, some people would label as unfun. But this goes further because also you are immune to heat, right? So you can, you know, go toe to toe with the likes of Sabo. You might be able to hang around an Aokiji or a Kainu. But going too far would probably cause you to experience one of the weaknesses of aerogel, which is straight up breaking due to having a very light framework. It is dense, yes, but it is not like very strong. You can drop aerogel, sure, but if you squeeze it and apply too much pressure, it will break. Now, in our day and age of the year 2023, we are not having as much issues creating aerogel that is not extremely brittle, but it's just one of those things where because the network is very spongy of its like molecular structure, you can crush it fairly quickly. But a couple other things you could do with aerogel. You can use its absorbent behavior to pick up particles that you wouldn't normally be able to as a regular person. This might even go as far as, since you are such a thick substance of aerogel, being an aerogel person and whatnot, you might be able to pull a Luffy and just, you know, instead of dodging the bullets, grab them and blast them back at people. And the only way that this would work is in enhancing your molecular structure as the aerogel person and making the pores inside your body very large. Otherwise, I think you would shatter, but here's where One Piece kicks in. Haki preference, right? I think you would need to specialize in both immediately. I don't think you would be able to last a second on the Grand Line being an aerogel human and not specializing in Haki. You would get far, yes, but you would not get very far if you were to get hit by a Kaido or even a crocodile, because sand would mess aerogel up crazy. There are different types of aerogel, and some of them can't handle any type of particle going into their structure, whereas other ones absorb it. So knowing what to do at the right time, a little bit of observation Haki would go a long way. And obviously, such a lightweight substance, and it's not strong enough to glide on air. You can insulate an aircraft with it. Yes, you could probably make yourself the aircraft and then, you know, glide that way, but you would need the 6 powers to do that, or you would need armament Haki to withstand the air pressure, because air pressure could probably crack aerogel, like enough of it, and then when you're high enough in the sky going at a certain speed, you're experiencing air pressure. So with that being said, I would probably take armament Haki over observation Haki, yes, but I would not diminish either or, right? It's up to the Devil Fruit user's expression of their power, how they choose to represent themselves. With armament Haki, like I was just about to say, swinging a lightweight structure coated in steel, you will be in another class of speed. You will just be able to like whip around just about any shape that you decide to conjure and wield it as a very effective weapon. And you could even go as far as to make aerogel walls and like dissipate from them, kind of like what I suggested with the loam fruit last video. But the unique thing about this aerogel is that you would be able to create just straight up huge chunks, bricks of aerogel and hide behind them. One cracks, you get moving. Make another one almost instantaneously, because when you are the fruit, you know, you have that ability to just go ahead and control it any way you see fit. I don't know how an awakening would work, like how Vegapunk suggested that awakenings don't work necessarily. Like he doesn't know if green blood can awaken, right? I think the same would have to apply here to the aerogel. Since we do not know, we cannot speculate. We can just go ahead and think of a potential awakening, right? And like I said, we don't even know how Logia is awakening at all yet. There's the two main theories. One, create a living structure of aerogel, or two, turn your environment into aerogel. Now, that second one is very dangerous. If you turn a whole island into aerogel, that thing is going to either stay buoyant for a good amount of time, but because it's so large, it might collapse in on itself, because it's not the same thing as you being an aerogel person and controlling how much you are at one given time. Like think back to when Diamond Jozu transformed his whole body except the corner of his face so he could still breathe, right? That's the weakness of his Devil Fruit. For this one, I think such a large network of aerogel might actually be slightly detrimental, but doing something like turning giant bricks into aerogel might be quite beneficial, because although they wouldn't have the density of a brick, they would take on a whole new purpose, right? Make an aerogel brick wall and you have different little structures going on. The heat from any attack would just disperse so crazy that you would be able to turn that attack on them at any given time. You might not be able to absorb the heat and shoot the heat back at them, but you would be able to relatively remain heat proof. I don't know how much it would take to avoid someone on the level of an Akainu, but I think it is quite possible, given that you can create so much aerogel at will. What I also think you could do is create aerogel armor for your friends and make like a whole team of people who are waterproof. Now, it doesn't let you breathe underwater, so you're gonna need that. But what it does let you do is leave the middle, from the neck down, you can be relatively waterproof. And if someone like a Blackbeard were to get an aerogel human on their team is entirely Devil Fruit users. And if you're trying to do something like fight them in the water, well, now it's going to be a little bit harder because they can last in the water for quite some time. I really like this Devil Fruit. I am loving the way that it kind of just shapes itself, and I know it's kind of a pun given that all Logias do so, but most Logias have a very finite thing they can do with themselves, except Green Bull, of course. But look at Akainu. All he can do is destroy, right? All he can do is create gloops and glops of magma and shoot them. He can shape the magma, but at the end of the day, he only has that. He can, use his regular Devil Fruit intangibility, but I don't think you can create a magma wall, right? Again, with Aokiji, he has a little bit more versatility. However, if you have more than the regular required amount of Haki, such as Whitebeard, you can pierce right through him even when he freezes. Of course, he can, reappear in anywhere his ice is, but, it's really not going to be that effective. Whereas with aerogel, you could generate a whole brick-like structure, a wall, a pyramid even, and because the different shapes of the network of the molecular structure of aerogel, you're going to get a different effect probably every time, right? You can probably make it so that the flames go right through the aerogel as opposed to breaking down within it, and you could turn their attack on someone else. If you were to insulate against other things, I don't know how well aerogel can handle cold. I looked up so many different things about it, and I'm going to assume it can handle it quite well, given that they use it in space to literally catch cosmic particles. But since it is not proven or said otherwise other than the space, example, I can't say that if it would handle like ice getting shot at it, right? Because that's not the same thing as being in space. Yes, being in space is like absolute zero, total absence of heat, but it's also not putting pressure on the aerogel, right? A brick of ice, ice spear, that little bird thing, ice pheasant that Aokiji does, that might ruin you entirely. But like fighting him, right, is a very small chance, just like fighting Ace or Akainu or Sabo. So really, you are kind of just like in your own league, like I said earlier. And if you were to like apply the 6 powers to it, I think that's when you'd be able to fly. Using, what is it? There's Shave. Is it Shave or Airwalk? I think it's Airwalk. That will let you just kind of like be on the air. Sanji like does his like super improved version of it. I think Shave is just like the super speed movement that Luffy uses it in Gear 2nd. We saw the CP9 doing it. But I mean, hell, even with Shave, you might need to be a little bit careful with that one just in case there's too much air pressure hitting your aerogel body. That might hold you back. But using Tech Eye, that would be fantastic with it because it wouldn't necessarily drain your Haki immediately. And then you can go further and do a Tech Eye and Haki coating of your aerogel, and you can probably withstand just about any attack, which honestly, I really like the sound of that. Now, a couple other things to do with this fruit. Obviously, you can create different substances, like I mentioned before, the waterproof armor, but you can also create like a heat-proof igloo if you're like stuck somewhere. It'd be like the total reverse, right? A normal igloo keeps the heat inside, you'd want to keep it out. That would mean you could totally survive on a weird island that we saw Blackbeard on that was like made of lava and stuff like that, you know? With catching particles, you might be able to just become a very rich person using aerogel to catch like dust particles or like gold particles, I mean. Like how they, you know how like panhandlers did it? If you were to like fight someone like a Guild Tesoro and aerogel up while he's doing his little dust thing where he like turns people to gold from the inside out, and I think we actually saw Mr. 3 do that as well, you would be completely immune to that kind of attack. I don't think it would affect you. I also think you would be able to separate just long enough to survive someone like Caesar's gas attacks. I don't know if you yourself can survive without air. I think if you go full aerogel, you might be able to. You might. Not 100% on that. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree with that. I think you'd be able to, just because aerogel is so light, gas would have to just go right through it. I don't think gas would create enough pressure right away to shatter the aerogel or affect your lungs, especially if your lungs are aerogel, because they are absorbing air in their own unique way at that point. So that actually might work, and I like that a lot. Back to the 6 powers, using an aerogel Shikai, I think it is, or just like the hand pistol. Yeah, I don't think it's Shikai. I think that, whatever, I'm confused. But I don't remember the Japanese names too well of the 6 powers, but using finger pistol, or like we saw in Egghead, hand pistol with aerogel, because it's so light and so fast, you might be able to go like, you know, hit further into someone's body and do a crazy amount of damage. You might be able to like shatter your aerogel on purpose and, you know, like kind of like a hollow tip bullet, just break it apart inside someone's body after the finger pistol. You might completely annihilate someone with that kind of power. Just a little thought right there. So a recap of this devil fruit, right? You would be waterproof and heat fireproof. You would be able to create tons of structures while at the same time being aerogel yourself, which is something that not all devil fruit users of the Logia variety can do. And you would be able to disperse particles and capture them, whether that just be someone very as niche as Guild Tesoro and Mr. 3, or if like, you know, say for example someone destroys a meteor that Fujitora drops down on you, you would be able to capture some of those particles. You might discover a new metal, be able to synthesize it with the likes of Frankie or a Wapol, and boom, whole new possibility of devil fruit usage opens up. With the awakenings, let me know down below if you guys have any awakenings for this devil fruit. Like I said, this is hard. Let me know what your favorite hockey preference for the Devil Fruit would be, or your favorite 6 power combination with it. I know I didn't name them all, but okay, just like a quick one again. Being able to do the paper art fold technique as Aerogel, I don't think anyone would ever hit you again. I think you would just be on such another level of waviness and paper arty. You might combine that with observation hockey and literally make yourself like one of the fastest beings on the planet next to Kizaru, obviously. But that's been the video. Seafreak, thank you so much. I very much appreciate it. This goes right into a saving account for a computer that I'm just working on saving for and getting to. And once I get it, quality of the videos, they go up, production value increases tenfold. So anyways, I'm Merch Hunter Ricky, Seafreak, and all the other viewers, commenters, subscribers, and likers. I appreciate you all so much. This video was very fun to do. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.